Welcome, fellow nerds, to this episode of Nerd Shit, hosted by Lord Brad and Riorik, where we discuss all things nerd. Whether it's anime, movies, comic books, video games, Magic the Gathering, or Dungeons & Dragons. If it's nerd, we talk about it. So pull up your favorite chair, pour a glass of mead, and get ready to come and discuss everything nerd shit.
Hey everybody, this is Riorik here. Today I'm by myself, sadly. Lord Brad went on vacation for a late honeymoon. Him and his wife got married last year, and due to scheduling, they weren't able to take their honeymoon until this summer. Of course, he comes back, gets sick, spends a few days under the weather. Luckily, it was nothing major, nothing severe. Now that he's healthy again, he's gone back to work, but this just is a very busy time for him, so he's working 14 days in a row with only one day off, and when you're working 12, 13 hours a day, sometimes for 14 days nonstop, you are pretty tired, pretty knackered, and you don't want to do a whole lot of anything else. On his day off, he's resting and relaxing, and we're having to work through some schedule stability issues, getting him in the studio to do some recording, but we didn't want to leave a big gap between episodes for you guys wondering where we were, what was going on. So it's just going to be me today. Hopefully next time Lord Brad will be back. We're still working on trying to get a couple of guests arranged so that we can do some conversations with some other people, get you some different insights and perspectives on some of these things that we like to talk about. Hopefully make things a little bit more interesting as well. But for today, we're just going to kind of go through some news, some things that we've been sitting on for a couple of days, couple of weeks. That we were hoping to include in the next episode with Lord Brad, but since he can't make it, I figured I'll go ahead and share that news with you all today, so that when he is back in the studio and we're able to record, we can focus on just whatever topics are at hand at that time, not dealing with outdated stuff. We want to try and bring this stuff to you guys in a timely manner, just to make sure everybody's getting the news in time. So we're just going to jump right into it today. First off, if you haven't been following our Facebook page, Lord Brad and I both got some boxes of the Double Masters 2022 set for Magic the Gathering. The boxes were a little hard to get by, or come by. They didn't print as many of this set as they did some of the other boxes, some of the other sets. Some of you who may have had pre-orders may have noticed that some of the pre-orders may have been canceled. There was a big deal going around right before launch date where the prices changed. They jacked up prices significantly on this set. So a lot of places that had taken pre-orders in the months leading up to the release had to cancel those pre-orders because the prices had changed so dramatically that they didn't feel they could honor those prices anymore. A lot of people were kind of left in the dark on that. They just got messages saying that their pre-orders had been canceled, and when they went to go look in to getting the pre-orders again, the prices had increased significantly. But luckily, Lord Brad and I, through our hookup with Nick over at Old Town Comics here in town, we were able to secure our boxes and keep the price at a reasonable rate. We both pulled some pretty serious gas out of our packs. We got a lot of Teferi's Protections, Force of Negations, Wrenn and 6, some of the Eldrazi reprints. We got a lot of really cool stuff. Both my deck box collection and Lord Brad's new deck box collection have been updated to show all of the cards from the Double Masters 2022 sets that we've got. So if you haven't checked out our deck box collections, go to our website, lordbradbrad.com, go to the products page, scroll down to the bottom under websites, and you'll see links down there for our deck box collections. You can click on those, and you can see all the cards that we have in our collections. Well, you can see all the cards that I have in my collection from all the different sets. Lord Brad's collection is still getting created. If he doesn't have a whole lot of time to record, he doesn't have a whole lot of time to catalog, but he does have his Double Masters 2022 stuff in there. So feel free to check out both of our collections to see what gas we pulled from this set. Other Magic the Gathering news, this month they've got a Secret Lair drop shipping that involves cards based on Street Fighter. Lord Brad and I both have some of those cards coming in. So, we're pretty excited about that. We both like Street Fighter. We're pretty curious to see what we can do with Ken, Ryu, Blanca, Guile, Chun-Li, Daoism, Zangief, and all the other cards with some decks. Because these aren't reprints of old cards with new art styles on them. These are actually new cards with new mechanics on them that will be the forerunners of the actual cards that get released in a future set. So these cards are going to be something very new, very different that Magic the Gathering doesn't have in its toolbox yet. So when we get those in here in the next couple of weeks, expect to see some pictures up on Facebook for that. Beyond that, that's going to be all the Magic stuff we're going to get into today. I know that's a favored topic of mine and Lord Brad, so I'm sure there'll be lots of other conversation about that. I don't want to take away from that. So we're just going to jump into just some of the news. Most of it's entertainment related. For those who are a fan of the 2003 movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, starring Sean Connery, this may or may not be welcomed news, but it was recently announced that there's a reboot of that movie. So League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is going to be redone. There's not a whole lot of news that's been made available that I've found yet that really talks about who's going to star in it, when it's going to be released, or anything like that, but it is going to be based on the same League of Extraordinary Gentlemen concept as the movie, from what we understand so far. Fire Force Season 3, which is an anime that the first 2 seasons are on Crunchyroll. If you're a fan of Fire Force, Season 3 has been announced. It will likely be on Crunchyroll as well, but there's no date given for that. Similarly, FLCL, Fooly Cooly, which was an old Toonami show. Really wild, really bizarre. If you've never seen it, track it down. It is available on DVD through Netflix. I don't think it's on their streaming service, but if you've got the disc service, you can actually get it through them. They've announced that Toonami is bringing FLCL back for 2 seasons. One's going to be called Grunge, and the other one's going to be called Shoegaze. They haven't really said when either of those seasons are expected to hit Toonami, but the big note that they've been promoting with that is that both seasons will feature new music from The Pillows, which is a Japanese rock band that's music was featured pretty heavily in the first season of Fooly Cooly. So if you've seen season 1 and you liked the music for it, well, get ready, because the same band's coming back for seasons 2 and 3. So if you didn't like the music, sorry. Disney Plus recently announced that Loki season 2 is going to come. Most of their TV series have been standalone seasons. We got 1 season of WandaVision, 1 season of Moon Knight, but Loki, it seems, is going to be the rare exception to these 1 season series. So they are doing season 2. They should have started filming by now. When the announcement was first made back in May, they said filming would start within a few weeks. Being that that's been 6 to 8 weeks ago, I suspect filming's already started. But the interesting part about that isn't that it's just getting a season 2. It's that they have confirmed that the entire cast is returning. So Tom Hiddleston's coming back as Loki, Owen Wilson's coming back, the whole 9 yards. The only thing in that announcement that kind of caught me as a little concerning is that while everybody on the front of the camera is returning, not everybody behind the camera is returning. So there's a change in the writers and some of the producers in the background. And when you have that kind of a change, you never really know what you're going to get. You can always just kind of look at Doctor Who, look at Russell T Davies when he ran the show versus Chris Chinball when he ran the show. There's very different storytelling styles there. Not that Doctor Who was bad under one and not the other. I enjoyed Doctor Who through all of it. But you can definitely tell there was change there. So whenever they announce a change in writers, it always kind of makes me a little hesitant. So I'm approaching that one with some cautious optimism. But they haven't announced when season 2 of that's going to hit either. Disney always plays some of that stuff kind of close to the vest. They don't really release it until it's usually a year away. With it just starting filming now, it's probably going to be late next year before we see a lot of it, based on their other schedules for releases. Beyond just movies and TV shows and things like that, there's some interesting gaming news that's come out for the gamers out there. Square Enix has a new game called the Diofield Chronicle. It is expected to release sometime this year. I haven't seen a firm release date yet, but it is expected before the end of the year. So I'm kind of keeping my eyes out on that one. It's been described as a deeply strategic RPG. It's going to be released on the Switch. It has a teen rating for the ESRB. When you look at the trailer for the gameplay, it looks like it's going to be along the same vein as games like Triangle Strategy, Fire Emblem, and Brigandine, where you control a kingdom and you're trying to fight other kingdoms for control, and it's this tactical grid type gameplay. But it looks like it has some pretty good graphics with the trailer video. All of these articles that I'm referencing will be posted out to the Facebook page, but I definitely recommend checking out this one to watch that trailer if you're a fan of tactical RPGs or strategy RPGs. If you like Fire Emblem, Three Houses, or Brigandine or anything like that, this one looks like it could be one to watch. Along the same lines, the Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is the successor to the Suikoden series, has been announced that it's going to also release on the Switch. It had been announced previously that it was coming to PC and some of the other consoles, but this was a Kickstarter-funded project, and I guess they passed enough goals or they raised enough funding that they have decided that they are going to do a Switch version of the game as well. They haven't announced a release date like so many other things, but with Kickstarter campaigns, I've noticed the release dates on those guys very rarely are met, so I don't hold a whole lot of hope that any release date they give will be concrete unless it's, we've gone gold, it's going to release within the next couple of weeks. If they try and plan anything too far out, I have to be suspect of it when it comes to Kickstarter these days. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 releases this month in July, July 29th to be exact. That is the current release date, and as close as we are to that date, I don't expect it to slip much, if any. They're usually pretty good about hitting those dates, and if they do slip, it's usually only by about a week or two, and most of the time those are production-related delays. It is coming out on the Switch, just like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did. Looking at the videos and trailers for this, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii U. I enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch. So I have no reason to think that I'm not going to like this one. If you like some open world type RPGs, action combat systems, things like that, this is one to really look at. It's always been a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed these games. They always have some pretty interesting storytelling, some pretty interesting world building with them. So I'm encouraging everyone to check that one out. For those who are in the know, I play Apex Legends. I was playing a lot every day, but due to internet issues, I've had to scale back here lately. While we try and get our internet issues fixed. But Lord Brad's brother, Captain Scolio, he and I play Apex Legends a lot, and we've got a lot of our friends that play Apex Legends, so we try and follow along with the game. They recently launched Apex on mobile devices. It's not cross-play with the console, so if you play on a mobile device, you're only playing other mobile devices. Whereas if you're playing on a console, you're not playing mobile devices. You're only playing other consoles. There's been some news that Respawn, the people who do Apex, is working on a single-player game, but it wasn't explicitly said that it was Apex single-player. So there's some thought that perhaps they're referring to Titanfall 3, which is another franchise that Respawn does. Interestingly, Titanfall and Apex share the same universe, so there may be some crossover, some hybridization there. We don't really know. There's not a whole lot of information that has been released about Respawn's single-player game, other than that they're doing it. There's a lot of speculation about whether or not it's Apex based, given that they just did the mobile game, or if it's Titanfall 3, even though Titanfall 2 was poorly received by a lot of gamers. So we'll have to keep our ears out and see what shows up there. Don't really have a whole lot of other details about it, honestly. Looking at everything, I think that's pretty much most of the major news that we wanted to bring to you guys in our episode before they got too far out of date. Thor: Love and Thunder hit theaters recently. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's pretty entertaining. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it's certainly entertaining. If you're a fan of the Despicable Me movies with Steve Carell, Minions: The Rise of Gru dropped at the beginning of the month. I've already seen that one too. Loved it. I love the Minions. They're kooky. They're crazy. They're just, they kind of remind me of the penguins from Madagascar, but at the next level. So anybody that watched Madagascar and thought the penguins were great, the Minions are even better to me. Other than that, I think the next big thing that we're all waiting for, gosh, I don't even know. I don't even remember the next big thing now. I guess we'll just have to review what the release schedules are with the next episode. Hopefully Lord Brad will be back then, and we can talk about that a little bit more. Well, I know this is a short episode compared to usual, but like I said, we just didn't want to have a big, long gap with absolutely nothing being out there. We didn't want y'all to think that something had happened and we had gone away. We're not going away. Just Lord Brad's schedule has been a little hectic, a little crazy. We haven't been able to get him in. Hopefully somewhere between September and December, his schedule should stabilize to the point where we can start getting a routine going. In the meantime, we're doing the best we can, guys. So stick with us, and we'll continue bringing you guys news and information, dialogue, conversation about anything that we can. Again, check us out on Facebook, Lord Brad, Facebook.com/Lord Brad. You can also check out our website, LordBradbrad.com. Go to the products page, and you can see everything that we talk about on there. If we mention a TV show, a movie, an anime, we try and find links to the DVD, Blu-ray box sets, so that way you guys can see those, find them, track them down, look them up. If we talk about magic cards, we try and make posts to the magic cards that we've got so that you can look at individual cards, specific sets, things like that. Anything that we mention by name on the show typically ends up posted out there. So go check it out, see what you find. You might find that there's some cool stuff out there. And until then, adios. Thank you for listening to this episode of Nerd Shit. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/LordBradbrad to see when new episodes drop. Or you can find our channel on YouTube. Just search Lord Brad and look for our logo. You can listen to all of your favorite episodes of Nerd Shit directly from our website, www.lordbradbrad.com, where you can also learn a little bit more about us and the products we use and reference on the show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to donate to the show, we gladly accept donations at ko-fi.com/LordBradbrad. That's coffee, spelled ko-fi.com/LordBradbrad. Or you can just click the link at the bottom of our website. If you have any comments on anything discussed in this episode, or would like to suggest a topic you would like to hear us talk about in a future episode, hit us up on our Facebook page. Again, that's facebook.com/LordBradbrad. Until next time, this is Riorik signing off and telling you to keep doing that nerd shit because you know we will.